2 minutes until I am live. Put your questions in the chat box now for them to be answered. Happy Friday, everybody. My name is Noah Wickham. I'm a brand director here at My Amazon Guy, and I am here to answer any and all of your questions. I've been gone for roughly 2 weeks on a little trip. I was actually in Colombia for the last week. So thank you to John and Zach for covering for me. They always do a great job. I saw some of their performance. They're answering all sorts of questions for you guys. So love to see that. But today I am back. I am in action. I should be here hopefully for at least another couple of weeks before inevitably again I have a Friday I have to take off for some reason. So today, answer all of your questions. Throw them in the chat right now. We are on YouTube. We are on LinkedIn. We are on, I think, Twitch as well. So any of those chat boxes will filter in here, and we should be able to get them all and answer any questions. So first up today, we have Jason throwing us saying, we are sellers of EPA registered products. For the last 2 years, we received many emails asking for copies of each state where restrictions apply. Do you know of a more proactive approach? Right now, we just wait to receive dozens of emails with each ASIN and state listed as restricted and respond, but by then sales are lost. So you can go about this in a few ways. If you're wanting to be proactive, the most proactive way to actually go about it would probably be to get a EPA consultant for like a part-time situation. You can find people who have that on Upwork. Typically, would be a really good place to look for them. But yeah, getting an EPA consultant to look over your products, and then they also should know the regulations for each individual state. It allows you to get a little bit ahead of the curve when it comes to certain certifications and compliance with EPA. But from an aspect of trying to do it before Amazon catches, yeah, that's the best way. Get all of your compliance documentations after you talk to an EPA consultant, and then from there, you can upload them as supporting documentation on the actual product itself. On Amazon's backend, you can always upload supporting documentation and compliance documents. It'll show down at kind of like the very bottom of your listing if anyone was ever interested in the area where it shows, for instance, like the ranking and the manufacturer. Same exact area, it'll show all of the documents there. And yeah, that would be the probably easiest way to get ahead of the curve when it comes to something like that. At the end of the day, if you're wanting to be really proactive about it, otherwise, you just gotta wait for Amazon to catch it and flag it. And their system is either very, very quick or very, very slow, and typically does them in batches. So hopefully that helps. But definitely get a consultant. There's no harm in it, and they'll help you out tons. Great question, Jason. I don't think I've ever actually gotten an EPA question before. Let's see. We are switching our items from Amazon stickers to UPC code. When we send items to Amazon warehouse on the new SKU, we are seeing a 70-cent increase per unit on the same ASIN. Oof. How do we see the fees? So you shouldn't see any form of increase per unit if you're going to your own UPC codes like manufacturer barcodes. To me, that says that a few different things. One, either your shipping is increasing in some capacity, right? So you're either shipping more, or for instance, maybe your dimensions are off slightly. So typically, when you switch from Amazon Amazon barcodes to some form of UPC, you're probably also at the same time creating that new listing to be able to do so, right? So a lot of times I see where somebody will accidentally do something where they add like an extra inch to the package dimensions for the product, or they add an extra, 3/4 of a pound. And that over the course of 30 units adds up to, an extra couple of bucks in your overall shipping. But from the aspect of fully just switching your items from Amazon stickers to UPC code, it usually should actually be a retraction, how much it costs. So I would definitely check out your dimensions, make sure that you have everything set up correctly there, that there's no issues with your dimensions on the new listing. And from there, I would also check to see your shipping rates. Do for the fee side of things, you can do an export for all of your shipments from Amazon shipment tab to see how much you are actually paying in shipping for everything. The only other option there would be potentially Amazon is having you send to a new warehouse, right? So if they're having you send to a new warehouse that's further away, shipping is going to cost more, and it's overall going to be a little bit more expensive on a per unit basis. 70 cents is pretty expensive on a per unit basis, which again leads me to believe more than likely it is a dimensional issue. So make sure it's just copied correctly. And, from there as well, you can even do things like Cubiscan if you need to. Let's see. Doug, my 2015 Legacy ASIN has 5 brand names. Wow. None of which are mine. Seemed okay at the time. Definitely not, but okay. I'm brand registered, but my trademark is still pending. I contacted the Amazon seller support to change the brand to mine, but they replied with, if you believe a listing policy violation has occurred, submit your concern with supporting information on the account health dashboard. Or if you believe a listing is infringing your intellectual property, such as authenticity, trademark, copyright, or patent rights, submit your concern to brand registry or report infringement page. Any recommendations? Yes. So you're dealing with a listing that, even if it's legacy, 2015, it's been around 10 years, has the wrong brand name, right? And it's not under your brand registration like it should be. The best route I would go here is trying to actually change the brand name through brand registry. The way that you have to essentially do this is you have to submit to brand registry and let them know that the actual brand name on the listing is incorrect. You need to have a lot of supporting documentation to be able to do something like this. The primary one that you're going to need is taking a picture of the product. So I don't have this Fiji bottle, let's say. So if you have this Fiji bottle and you're selling this and you're trying to change it to the brand name Fiji, the best way to go about that would be take a picture of the bottle along with the UPC code in the picture and have name on the packaging that the product comes in as well. So your correct brand name on the actual packaging. Now, the reason for this is that you want to make sure also it matches, if you are FBA, anything that's in the FBA warehouse. And that way you can essentially go back and say, hey, look, these are the exact same product. This is supposed to be this way. And then on top of that, your actual UPC is going to be your saving grace here. When you sign up for a GS1 UPC, you should also have a brand name attached under that UPC. So when you create any GS1 brand name, it will show up on the actual GS1. So you can say to brand registry, hey, check the GS1, because Amazon is directly linked to GS1 at this point. So go ahead, take that picture, but submit everything through brand registry, because seller support's not going to be able to help you when it comes to a brand name change. And they're just going to kick you back over to brand registry. Brand registry will probably try and kick you over to seller support a few times. Don't worry, it's normal. This is not going to be a fast process by any means, Doug. It'll take you some time. It'll take some time to actually see the fruits of your labor come through from this. And it might take a few cases, but you should be able to, if all of those different pieces of information are actually matching the way they should be. Awesome, awesome. Tech to Technology, welcome back. How can I tackle branded keywords? For example, I have a product 25-watt charger, and Samsung also has that same 25-watt charger, but how can I tackle it? So if you're trying to tackle branded keywords and, by that standpoint, trying to rank on them, the best way that you can possibly do that is going to be through competitor targeting on your ad side. It's really, really hard to do anything else. You could add, for instance, on your backend search terms, the Samsung 25-watt charger as a backend search term. That'll help you rank and index a little bit more. But everything else, I would do it straight from an advertising side. Do some top of search towards it, right? So you show up in front of them. Do product page as well for your advertising so that you're actually hitting on the product pages. And overall, just try and get sales off of those keywords. Branded keywords and ranking on them is pretty difficult outside of advertising, because you obviously can't add that brand onto your actual listing unless, and this is a big unless, you can add that brand if you say something in the title, such as compatible with. So if you say compatible with Samsung Galaxy Note 5, right, then they can't actually hit you if you are saying your product is compatible with it, because you're not actually hitting on and saying their brand name. So that is another route that you can go, is adding that compatible with, if it actually is compatible with. Don't do that if you're just trying to use the brand name, obviously. But if it is the compatible with, then add that into the title, add the branded search terms into the backend keywords, and then also hit on them from the advertising side. Rodrigo, I created an Amazon Pay account to receive payments on an off Amazon website. It was created with an LLC. We never got it to work, and now it is suspended due to Section 2.1 and 9.1. I don't know what 2.1 or 9.1 is. Okay. I have sent all information demonstrating compliance with both sections. Only negative bot replies with the same text demonstrate compliance to sections 2.1 and 9.1. This is affecting my seller account because it is flagged with multiple account policy. Okay. I've appealed on both and sent proof of independence of accounts, but only bot replies. Any ideas? Yeah, so if you're ever dealing with a situation where Amazon has flagged you for having multiple accounts at any point in time, this is because they think you have actually infringed on some policy around having multiple accounts. So it's never actually an issue to have multiple accounts on Amazon, at least not anymore, unless you are actively already on one of those accounts doing something wrong. So doing something against term service. I don't know exactly what 2.1 and 9.1 are. If you could list those out, I might be able to kind of better answer this. I just don't know them off the top of my head, unfortunately, Rodrigo. But that being said, when you are submitting your documentation for multiple accounts and trying to get them essentially separated from each other, one of the best things you can actually do is essentially show your rationale and reasoning behind setting up both accounts. So don't try and, say, oh, it's not my account, it's not my account, or anything like that. Own it. Own up to the fact that, yes, they are both your accounts. Show the rationale as to why you created both accounts. Ask for leniency. So with your seller account, you'd say, well, this is a different entity and it is a different business class, which I'm sure you're already doing with the different LLCs. And then for the payment account, you need to show that it is a fully different business. Now, the area that you will run into issue is if that payment account had ever, let's say, purchased a product under a competitor, right? Or if you sell the exact same products on both accounts or even both websites, for instance. So those are the areas that you will run into issue is if, for instance, even if it's set up under another LLC, if it's the exact same product line, that's what Amazon usually has a problem with. So try and own up to it. Just make sure it's not the same product line. Again, if you want to shoot over just a quick message or even send an email to podcast@myamazonguy.com with the exact verbiage of 2.1 and 9.1, I'm happy to answer that. It would also be really cool because I can kind of put that to memory for future use as well. We got Doug again. Same ASIN as before. I'm phasing in an upgrade to the parts to thwart unauthorized sellers who shouldn't be able to easily replicate my design. Any recommendations on phasing in the new upgrade inventory with the listing photo, etc.? Yeah. So if you're phasing in that new inventory, that actually works, I think, in your favor with what we were just talking about with the brand and changing over that brand name and the registration and everything. When you are phasing all of that in, just kind of do it over the course of time. Don't send in just a buttload of stuff and then immediately think Amazon's going to be cool with everything. What I would probably recommend actually is that you would go ahead and phase it probably a couple hundred units at a time, right? And then over time, it'll just be new. I would change your designs to be closer matching it as well. Your secondary option here, do a variation, do a version 2 variation, which would solve technically both of your problems at the same time of doing a version 2 variation while simultaneously doing the brand name change. And it also gets you a honeymoon phase while keeping all of your reviews from the version 1. So that's always one way to go about this, and pretty simple one and kind of a smart one. But secondarily, just send in product over time. Make sure you change your overall listing around the same time. But from using the UPC code, manufacturer barcode, you shouldn't have any real issues there as long as you don't have any resellers. Resellers on the listing will probably cause a few problems there, especially if Amazon has mixed inventory settings on where you and resellers are technically sharing all of the same inventory. All right, Abdullah, any UK non-resident update one of my client Amazon, hold their payment and want to give him VAT? I have not too much information. I'm not sure on the question here, Abdullah. I think you're asking essentially if, why Amazon's holding payment. If you have a VAT or whether you're EU, US, anywhere, if you have a VAT or a tax situation going on with any form of updating your deposit method, your charge method, your tax compliance, making sure that it's actually registered correctly, all of those things are going to cause your payments to be on hold until Amazon clears them. It takes time. VAT takes longer than EIN typically, just because, I don't know, Amazon takes longer for everything in the EU, it seems. But that being said, there's not much you can really do on your end. There's not much your seller can do as long as they have already submitted all of their proper VAT documentation. So unfortunately, I don't have a great answer for you because there isn't a great answer here. It's pretty much hey, wait around and hope that Amazon speeds things up. I have seen people who have VAT situations go on for months and months and months in the UK and EU just because Amazon takes so long for those kind of things. So not a great thing you can really do much there. But the positive here is as long as you have all your VAT information, it'll clear eventually. We have Juan. Juan, unfortunately, I did spend a week in Colombia. I don't know Spanish yet still. Trying on that, but I think, here we go. Okay, you did in English as well. Hi there. What is the best formula to calculate a bid? There's not necessarily a best formula here. Your best formula when calculating a bid really comes down to what is your cost per click, right? Like, so let me open Campaign Manager here, Juan, and we'll kind of dig into this a little bit. So if I'm just looking, let me change accounts here. There we go. So if I'm just looking at any old campaign, I'll just choose the first one I see here and share my screen. If I'm just looking at any old, oh, there we go. If I'm just looking at any old campaign like this one, and we're looking at our targeting here, you're going to see our bids over here, and you're going to see a suggested bid. Reality is, if you don't know too much about bids, I would just go with the suggested bid to start out. What you're going to very quickly see is how your conversion is affected by that bid, what your impressions are, and your overall click percentage, right? So your click-through rate is going to be mainly dependent on your actual design and not actually on your advertising. So that's a big part of why we're always pushing things like the main image hack, because the main image hack is going to help you with your click-through rate. Now, that being said, if you have a product that has zero relevancy whatsoever to the actual, advertisement that you're doing, you're going to have an awful conversion rate off of that and just be wasting money. But when it comes to your bid, there's not necessarily a formula that you should follow. I would go from suggested bid, and then you need to check your cost per click. So you can see here, we're actually bidding at 88 cents. Suggestion is 87. We have a cost per click of 96. That is because we have raised our bid at some point in time. So how do you actually decide what your cost per click or your bid should be? Typically speaking, you need to see what is the cost per click that I'm typically paying. What is my overall ACoS? So is it within ACoS goal? And then lower your bid until you're meeting ACoS goal. You're going to have to take into account your conversion rate, your click-through rate, your impressions, and your purchases. So we call that the ICAP funnel. And so with that ICAP funnel, you'll very quickly start to understand how much can you actually spend on your advertising. Again, there's not a formula here, like a hard and fast rule formula. There are formulas you can do for bids optimization, and there's softwares out there that you can use. I'm not a huge fan of the AI software stuff, but what I am a fan of is an intuitive bidding, right? Your ACoS is too high, cool, lower your bid. Your ACoS is at a good margin, but you're not seeing the sales or anything you want to see, increase your bid. As simple as that. All right, Farwa. Hi, I'm very interested in exploring internship opportunities at my Amazon guy. Could you please let me know if your internship program is available to candidates who do not hold a bachelor's degree? It absolutely is, Farah. So for those who do not know, we at my Amazon guy, we offer internships. So if you come here, and we actually just changed our page, careers, there it is. We offer paid internships. So it does not matter to us if you have a degree. We actually don't really even look to see if people have degrees a lot of times for pretty much any role, internship or not. We don't care if you have a degree. We don't care if you have experience. We don't care, if you have, I don't know, blonde hair. Doesn't matter. My point here is go to myamazonguy.com/job/internships, or just /internships, I guess, and check us out. We have them for pretty much any role: PPC, SEO, merchandising. We even do it for brand managers. So if you've never done anything with Amazon whatsoever, check us out. If you want to get some knowledge from Amazon, there is no better place to learn than here. We will teach you from the ground up everything you need to know about Amazon. I teach interns all the time. I think right now we have like 2 separate ones that have been, working directly under me and my BMs. So absolutely go apply. More than happy to have you. Nab, welcome back. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We got Sashin. What is the best way to keep track of profitability on Amazon business? Software, typically. You're gonna have. I don't ever encourage anyone to put their cost of goods sold into Amazon system. You can do it through Amazon. I don't do that because Amazon is likely to steal that information and take it to a manufacturer and try and outbid you if you have a good product. That being said, for profitability, we do a bunch of different stuff. We use Merchant Spring, which I'm not logged into an account right now, so I won't pull it up. But we use Merchant Spring for a lot of our profitability. It requires us to have COGS. At the end of the day, it just comes down to what accounting software. If you're internal to a brand, then you're probably going to know like overhead costs. You're going to know everything, salaries, things like that. We don't track that kind of stuff here at Mag. We primarily just go off cost of goods and, our service fee and Amazon fees and everything like that. So yeah, just use a software for it. There's a million of them out there. Merchant Spring is the one that we use for pretty much all of our stuff. I think it is not Seller Labs. There's some kind of other ones out there. If you go to myamazonguy.com/third-party recommended services, this tab here, we have a bunch of different services. Which one was I thinking of? Seller Board. This one is really, really good at profitability. So and it's also, I think, free or it's extremely cheap. So if you have like a single brand or something you're just trying to understand the profitability of, I would head over to our third-party recommended services site and then just go and try out Seller Board. Seller Board is really, really good for checking profits. Superhero design. Okay. We have to change our brand name for all of our products. Oof. How do you go about switching brand names? We are part of brand registry and we have a brand store, etc. And we are the only seller of our brand. Yep. So exactly what I was kind of mentioning earlier. I think I talked, who was it? Was it Doug? Yeah, it was Doug. Earlier, Doug was just asking their superhero this exact same question of brand name. Same exact process, whether or not it is a different brand name. You just need to make sure you have your product, your Fiji product. You take a picture of it with the Fiji logo in packaging of some kind. And then on top of that, you take a picture with the UPC code. You want to make sure your UPC code on GS1 is attached to that new brand name. If it's not, you're going to run into some issues, but not major ones. It doesn't necessarily have to be. But overall, that's going to be your process. Submit to brand registry, ask them for the brand name change, show them the pictures of the packaging showing the brand name that you're changing it to. Explain why there is a brand name change and why it was initially under a different brand name, and go from there. That's going to be your best bet. Sometimes as well, you can do this if you do a listing merge. If you're really, really having some issues, create a new listing under the brand name that's identical to the other listing, and then try and do a merge and keep the new brand name instead of the old one. Mahak, how can we change variation type from size to either number of item or color? Is it possible to do this? How would you execute it? What are the risks? Please provide a solution. Yeah, this is actually a super easy thing to do. A lot of people don't really realize how easy it is to actually change parentages and variations in general. But the easiest way to go about this, let's see if I can just quickly find a parent here. Give me 1 second. Of course, the one time I'm trying to find a parentage, I can't find one. There we go. Okay, found one. All right. So when you need to do this, all you need to do is find the parentage. So you can see I have this one parentage here of our, tumbler mugs. They're all out of stock, so it doesn't really matter. But all you'll end up doing here is for the actual parent here in this, you can go here, select group action, delete listing. That seems kind of terrifying to do, I know, but it is the proper action here where you are only going to delete this parent. You are not going to delete any of the children. You are deleting only the parent. So you'll do delete listing, and then you're going to wait 24 hours. The parent here is going to be deleted. All of the children are going to stay. Once all of the children are broken out from the overall variation, the parentage there, what you can then do is upload a flat file with a new parentage. So you'll have to create a new parent SKU, and you will change what the parentage type is. So before, if you have it from size and you want to change to color, or you want to change number of items, you can actually do color and number of items, I believe. So you could do both those at the same time. But yeah, you'll just upload a flat file with a new parent and all of those as children under it. Super simple, takes, a day or so, obviously, for all of this to go through, and then, you can change it. But yeah, no real major risks here. I guess the only major risk would be if you accidentally, delete everything. But even then, if you accidentally delete everything, no worries. Re-upload it with a flat file. Just make sure you take a category listing report out before this, and you'll be fine. Juan already answered this one, I think. What's the best formula? Yeah, I already answered that one. Sachin, what is the best method to keep track of profitability? Yep, answered this one as well. Again, go to Seller Board, download Seller Board. It's not download, I guess it's a website. But yeah, just go to Seller Board, use Seller Board as that. You can check it out on myamazonguy.com/, third party recommended services. It's actually recommended third party services, my bad. But either way, yeah, Seller Board's great. Merchant Spring is great. Both of those are ones that I would encourage anyone who's wanting to see their profitability and just get an overall look at their Amazon account use. Let's see. John Richardson. I have a client in Hawaii. UPS or USPS are not preferred shippers that has small shipments. She has been shipping them USPS priority mail to me in California and send them via UPS. Any suggestions? Not really. Unfortunately, John. I have worked with hundreds and hundreds of different brands, and there is one common theme, especially when it comes to FBM, as to what those brands do, and that is they do continental US only for the most part, and anything that's not continental US, they charge a extraordinary fee, and the reason is it is expensive to ship to Hawaii and Alaska and Puerto Rico. So unfortunately, I don't have a great solution for you here. The only solution I really would have would be to have her get a 3PL option that is in the continental US and start using that 3PL. I can almost promise you it is probably cheaper for her to have everything freight shipped, even like sea freight and then land freight to a 3PL and then shipped out to customers in the continental US than it is for her to actually ship them from Hawaii to you and then you ship them out. I can't imagine how much that is costing overall, but I have to promise you that it's probably cheaper just to get a 3PL and, go from there. Diane, our ASIN is price matching Wayfair despite the UPCs being different. We believe that the price matching may be happening because some of the images are the same. How should we troubleshoot this? There's not a ton of way to troubleshoot price matching from the Amazon side. Amazon is always going to try and find your product online. I have seen it. Doesn't matter if it's not the same UPC. I have seen it where they will find a random product that someone else has put on their website that is your product for some reason, and they try and price match that. Your real solution here is unfortunately change your price on Amazon, change your price on Wayfair. That's all there is to it. There's not a secret sauce to get around this outside of, trying to argue with Amazon seller support that this is not the correct ASIN. So you could theoretically, if you wanted to, try and go ahead and say, hey, this is not the same product. It doesn't have the same UPC. This is a different product, et cetera, et cetera. And you might be able to reason with them, but it's not going to be a for certain, you're going to get it done. A lot of times it's just a lot easier to change the prices, maybe change it on Wayfair and then hope that they raise it on Amazon. But to actually say, hey, I hope that, we get this done, it not all the time happens. So, best of luck to you, but seller support would be number one to go to, tell them and argue that it's not the same product. Secondarily, that just say, hey, I think that we're going to have probably, a higher price across the board on all of our sites, not just Amazon. Mahak, we got new inventory with new barcode. How can we sell that under old ASIN as reviews are there? Technically, you can't. So what you actually need to do here, you can technically in a certain capacity, but what you need to actually do here is you need to create a new ASIN entirely, and then you do a listing merge. So what that means is you need to create that new ASIN with the new UPC because UPC is tied to ASIN. And then you need to try and merge your old listing and that listing. So you'll have to ask seller support for help with that. That'll be a thing. You'll reach out to seller support, say, hey, I have these two ASINs. This new ASIN is the correct one with the correct UPC. Please merge these two ASINs and keep all the data from the new one. And they should also merge reviews when they go about that. It takes a little bit of effort. And unfortunately, Amazon has to do it on their end. You can't do it on your end. But once they do, it should be fine. What I would do in the meantime also is potentially parent those together. So everything is just under one. It's kind of like a variation almost, but it's not. Let's see. Amit, why would my product rating change when the number of reviews count hasn't changed? I'm not sure. So your product rating is obviously directly tied to the number of reviews. If your product rating is changing, oh, actually, there is a simple solution to this. Somebody changed their review, or a lot of people changed their review. So when you get reviews and somebody leaves a review on a product, that review is allowed to be edited. So people can change their reviews. It's a common thing where, for instance, somebody will leave like a 1-star review because, oh, I hate this product, blah, blah, blah. And then they return it. They have a great experience. Like, oh, 5-star review. This was, it's fine. It's great. Whatever. Yeah, you can change your reviews as a customer. So that's likely what happened. Outside of that, not sure. Shouldn't be that way. But yeah, customers changing their reviews is the answer there. Cool. 30 minutes in, been speed running these. I gotta get some liquid. My throat is already super dry here. I'm trying to get to as many as possible. You guys have amazing questions today. I love this. Come back after a 2-week hiatus and we're getting bombarded with every possible, Amazon situation there is. I can't. Perfect time for me. Love this. I'm it. Just did that. Doug, same 10-year-old ASIN. Okay. You have a lot of problems with this this ASIN, Doug. I'm kind of starting to wonder here. The current barcode isn't GS1. Is there any way I can change old non-GS1 barcode to a new GS1 barcode? Yeah. Get a new GS1 barcode, create a identical listing, a duplicate listing under a new ASIN with that GS1 barcode, and then do a merge of the two products. So very similar to what I was just saying to Mahak a second ago, exactly that same process, except that you're going to do it with the new product. Now, here's where you're going to have some issues with the 10-year-old ASIN is the brand name. So similar to what we were talking about earlier, you might want to try and go through that brand name change prior to doing this merge. Otherwise, you're probably going to have some issues with the merge as well. But overall, you should be able to do it just from a listing merge standpoint. Mahak, should we keep the heading of all child SKUs same or different for SEO purposes? Different. If it's a different product, you should name it differently. You should not have the same exact title for a bunch of different products. There has to be some form of, difference between them. Even if it's a 1-pack, 2-pack, 3-pack, add 2-pack, add 3-pack into them. That is SEO and ranking in of itself. There's no reason in the world in which you should have the exact same title for multiple products unless they are the exact same product, in which case, why do you have multiple listings for them? So yeah, just even if it's tiny changes like that, 2-pack, 3-pack, make the change. It's going to be good for the SEO either way. Paul, we want to cancel the shipment. Does the placement charges and shipment charges get canceled too? If it's within 24 hours of creation of a shipment on Amazon, then yes, you can cancel it. And you should get refunded everything. If it is not within 24 hours, you have to reach out to seller support, and it is not guaranteed that you will be refunded for all of the charges. So unfortunately, that's just the case, how Amazon rolls with it. Usually they're pretty good sports about it. If you haven't sent anything in and you haven't printed labels or anything like that, usually, like I said, they're pretty good sports about it and they will just refund you. But I have seen scenarios where they don't. The biggest thing that I always recommend people, don't click create on a shipment until you are 100% sure that you are going to be sending that shipment. See it all the time. People try and create shipments of, before their manufacturer order is even done or even created in the first place. And then next thing you know, they're like, oh, we're going to add an extra 200 units, or, oh, we want, 2 extra ASINs added to it. And they run into all sorts of issues. So yeah, absolutely. Just reach out to seller support if it's been more than 24 hours and ask them for a refund on the shipment and cancel it. And hopefully they give you some good graces. Mark. Hello, Mark. If doing a PPC audit, which do you prefer, doing it via search term reports or the ad console? It depends on what I'm trying to do in the audit. I would say probably 80% of the time, maybe 70, 80% of the time, I'm going to do it in the ad console, just because a lot of what I'm looking for in any audits that I'm doing is going to be, I'm going to be looking for wasted ad spend. I'm going to be looking for too high of ACoS. I'm going to be looking for specific products, keywords, see how they're performing, things like that. So It really depends. Everyone has their own flavor. I know a lot of people do them via search term reports. I know a lot of people just look at the bulk files, etc., and the download, and they can very quickly do everything in there. It really depends on what I'm doing. I'll do bulk files if it's a very, very large account, or if I don't think I'm going to be able to find exactly what I'm looking for in there. So really, it just depends. I should also mention I've been looking at these for 10 years, so I'm kind of immediate, just real fast with the ad console at this point. But depends. Everyone has their own flavor of way of doing things, I suppose. I think that's personal preference more than anything. Mahak, we're getting a lot of discrepancies between the FBA inventory sent and inventory received by Amazon. What we need to do here, you need to sign up for a service like My Refund Guy. I would honestly do something like that. I would sign up for, go to myrefundguy.com. It's a service we offer. It's free, except that we charge a percentage of whatever we claw back. Amazon loses items on shipments all the time, and Amazon just loses product all the time. It's a warehouse. It can't be helped. They're dealing with millions upon millions upon millions of products every single day. It is almost guaranteed that they are going to lose things. And of course, Amazon is also typically not going to pay you for that. They, however, are in November going to start proactively paying people out for anything like that. But you still have to kind of have all your invoices in a row and things like that for them to pay you for that. So I sign up for myrefundguy.com. It's a great service. I think have gotten like more than 2 million plus $3 million plus back, clawed back from Amazon for sellers. So go ahead, do that. And that's probably going to be your best bet, at least if you don't want to spend all the time, doing it yourself. You can. It's just a lot of seller support tickets and a lot of invoices back and forth. Matthew, good to see you, sir. Strategy to change item package quantity field for ASIN. For an ASIN, it is a locked field, much like the UPC. Product was mistakenly entered as having 10K and should be 1K. Oh man. Okay. 8541 error. Ooh, 8541 error. Matthew, I think for those that don't know, something I'm doing right now, if you guys are interested at all in knowing this, I am actually in the process of making a series for our YouTube channel here where I go over every single error code on Amazon and give the solution and walk through the solution for that error code. And so I love seeing people actually list out the error codes for me. So error code 8541, if we're looking right here, it says this error code listing attribute, brand title. Okay. So unfortunate part here, Matthew, is you can't change the exact listing that you're trying to change. The good part here, Matthew, is that you can change the listing by doing a merge. Amazon typically does not want to merge listings unless they are identical in every single way, shape, and form. The best way that you could probably do this and go about this is creating the exact same listing, except with the same UPC rather than like a differing UPC. And then go from there where you say, oh, this is actually supposed to be, 1K. You can work with seller support on changing certain attributes like this. Typically, when it comes to an attribute like this one, I would ask, how many sales do you have on the listing? And my guess is you probably are having issues more so with the fact you already sent inventory in. It may honestly be cheaper and easier for you to just create a new listing entirely that's correct, and then ask Amazon to change over the inventory to that new listing. It'll be a little expensive, but it'll be the fastest way to get this done. If you're not worried about cost, that is, but if you are worried about cost, I would probably go the route of trying to do a merge. They say no to a merge. Try and ask seller support to change the attribute directly, and they should be able to change it. It'll just take time, I should say. Jordan Lee, good to see you. My sales are good, but PPC is wiping out my profits each month. Any tips to reduce ACoS? I've tried an account level budget for a week, but have noticed sales are noticeably down. Yeah, I mean, when you're trying to lower your ACoS, the biggest advice I can possibly give you here, Jordan, is to essentially look at what you're bidding against. So look at what kind of keywords you're going against. There's always going to be room to kind of downbid, right? So, if you're going from an account level budget, that's probably not where I would start. That's kind of like end game stuff. But for this, look at day parting, right? That's a great example. See where you have your highest ACoS during the week, day part it. Okay. Day parting should be like an instant out when you're looking to kind of get some overall ACoS improvements on an account level as a whole. So that's definitely one area I would look at. Look for low hanging fruit as well. So things such as like self campaigns, self targeting campaigns. That's another one. So targeting your own products and your own keywords. Look for like auto catch all campaigns. If you have some auto campaigns, those usually should work pretty well from a low bid standpoint to keep some sales and get good ACoS. But overall, the biggest thing with overspending and over ACoS goals is you're probably just going to have to pull back a little bit. I would also look at doing some negations. If you have a keyword that is getting a ton of sales and everything, but it's also costing you a ton of money, that's not a good keyword. Yeah, sure, you're getting sales and it's costing you a lot of money and you have high ACoS, just not good. So look at negating more. Everyone should have like a 1-to-2 ratio for like keywords to negations when they are trying to optimize at the very least. Mahak, again, how can I check if my Amazon FBA inventory is receiving all the customer return as Amazon refund before receiving the return? So you can actually check a return report here. So I think it's under orders. Yeah, so you can go to, I'm not sure on my screen. There we go. You can go to orders and you can actually do a manage returns and you can get a return report here. You can also get a inventory report, which is actually under reports. So if you do an inventory report, there's a couple of different types of reports like this one, which is directly a returns report. So you can see all of the returns that you're getting on the account all at the same time. And you'll understand if you're getting the product or not. Amazon should be checking to make sure people actually send the product back. And if people don't send the product back and it doesn't get checked in as a return, then you get the money still. So don't worry about that too much, I would say. Nab, I have a product I've been selling and I have changed the brand identity and the product's recipe. Okay. Should I start a new listing or just change the current listing? It has 4.0 rating. Start a new listing, create a secondary version 2 variation. That will give you all of the reviews from your previous listing while simultaneously also giving you a honeymoon phase again for this new product. If you are changing a product down to like what the actual product is. So for instance, whatever this is a product recipe. So it's, an actual recipe. It has items in it, right? That's where if it's down to that level of like different ingredients, absolutely go ahead with a new variation, have it be a version 2 or a, better than version 1 or a more than version 1, whatever it is, if it has more caffeine or something, or it has a better formula, use that as a marketing tool, right? It, now launched version 2 with a better formula. It's going to be, 10x as good as version 1. Cool. Awesome. Great marketing strategy. Gets you a honeymoon phase again. You get to have all of the ride and all of the publicity, whatever reviews, everything from version 1 while simultaneously launching that version 2. Let's see. Should I buy a new UPC for the new recipe? Should I hop on with variation so I can get honeymoon phase? Yeah, exactly it. New UPC, new listing, new variation, new everything. It definitely is going to be a best route for you. Roro, this is a brand question. Okay, I love those. I'm trying to show more fashionable, stylish product at an affordable price, but I see most of competitors don't show it in the way, in that way, even though their photos are professionally done and A+ content and doing really well in highly competitive market. So I'm contemplating if that design of stylish, fashionable photo design would have a strong impact to consumers to see they're buying high quality design, which it is, for an affordable price. Am I barging up the wrong tree? And competitors may have tried it and didn't work, or it hasn't been tapped into that much. I'm trying to decide if it's worth spending $2,000 on highly amazing photos versus standard like everyone else. To note, competitors don't have stylish product. Pretty simple and straightforward product. Mine is more stylish. I'm always going to be in the camp of the better looking design is going to win. You are in the world of, click through, and we are in a society of window shopper central, right? So, I mean, literally, if I am going onto Amazon right now, so if I'm just going on to Amazon and I'm just looking up, let's just look up, I don't know, TV monitor, whatever. If I'm just doing that, I'm going to be scrolling real fast. I'm window shopping this, right? And there are things that are going to catch my eye. See how each one of these different monitors has a different picture of some kind on it? Each one of these pictures can be changed. But guess what? This guy right here, this actually kind of caught my eye. One, because I think it has a cool picture, but also two, tells me exactly what it is. 15.6 inches, full HD, whatever. I don't know what this is. How big is this? It says 24-inch. Okay, that's in the title, but how big is this? Same with this one. How big is this? How big is this one? That's what we call click-through rate. It is adding things onto your image and making your image pop out more. From an idea of being more stylish and adding more design, I'm always going to be, I'm always going to be in the camp of that is a good idea, right? Especially when it comes to like your main image, or even your secondary photos. I mean, adding something as simple as, a lifestyle photo for your image and having it be high resolution or anything. Do I think you need to go to a professional photographer and have, professional photos taken of, every single one of your different images for your image stack? No. Do I think that you should have really high quality photos taken for your product that then from every angle that then can be used in, some design of some kind? Absolutely. Is that going to cost you $2,000? I don't know. I'm not a photographer, unfortunately. So that being said, I mean, we do a ton of different design work here. I'm always going to be in the camp of, better design is going to give you a better click-through rate and better conversion rate overall. Sanjay, hi. We have two products that we are going to launch is in a very high competition category, but we have distinct features that separate us. We are told to never compete in high demand comp. High demand is there another part this? Okay. I mean, no, you can look, competing in high demand, high competition is fine. If, and this is a big if, you have a product that can somehow beat the competition, right? So a great example that I love using here, is people who do like bamboo kitchen equipment. So like I'll just like bamboo cutting board, I think is like almost a great one, but I'll just do bamboo kitchen and show this. So like the reason I say bamboo is if you look, we'll do like this one, the bamboo cutting board, which to be honest, I mean, it looks good, has really good main image, all that, go away Rufus. But if we like come down here, there's a million bamboo cutting boards. It's high competition, high market. If I do any of this, I think one that I know of particularly is like a bamboo bread holder. If you look through this, like these are all going to be the same. I mean, this is the same as this one. Oh, this is the exact same product. That's why. But my point being is that there's going to be a million of these that are essentially the exact same product. And it's, yes, high competition, but it's also, there's no distinction between your competition. And so if it's high competition and there's no distinction whatsoever, what is the point in trying to create a product unless you're going to be throwing tens of thousands of dollars to get spot number one there so that you can beat out all of these identical lookalike competitors? And the reality is, in a high competition market where everyone is, the only thing that you're going to win by is going to be by price. So what do? You either have to have a really low price or you have to have some type of product that stands out comparatively to the competitors, right? So that's, high competition, high, velocity market, whatever. It doesn't really matter as long as you have a unique product in some way. Unique offering probably is a better term. All right, Marnie, what is causing my keywords ranking to fluctuate up and down significantly overnight when my bidding is the same? I don't know. I wish I could say, oh, yeah, it's X, Y, and Z. I don't know. I would have to look at it directly, Marnie. That's not the type of thing I can really just say for sure. You could have a million different reasons for this. The biggest one is if you are fluctuating overnight. That sounds to me like for some reason your product is maybe getting suppressed at nighttime, or something's happening where it's getting suspended for a few hours and it's taken out of your keyword ranking entirely. If it's specifically on, the advertising side of things, try initiating day parting. That's probably going to help you a lot if it's on the ad side of things. But, keyword ranking itself shouldn't fluctuate up and down drastically by more than a couple of points, I suppose, in any given day. Even if you're getting, a million sales, you shouldn't have drastic changes. Maverick on our top product FBA inventory recently disappeared to zero and started showing up in transfer only. Orders are over a month delayed. Oof. They said orders would start in a few weeks. What could cause this? Amazon's warehouse taking way too long. We are in kind of peak season right now, or at least getting into it. Sounds like Amazon had a transfer issue of some kind. Unfortunately, there's not a ton you can do. They probably had to transfer all of your product from one warehouse to another. It's unfortunate. It can happen sometimes for a variety of reasons, but I would straight up just keep pressuring seller support, try and see what's going on, because they should never at any point make it so it's going to be weeks before your product gets moved. But who knows? Maybe the product that the warehouse your product was in had a fire of some kind, right? And so they had to move all of the inventory out of that warehouse into a new warehouse, or a variety of reasons could be why this is the case, unfortunately. How many days does it take for single keyword campaigns to actually hone in and start getting decent impressions? You should see something within the first couple of days to a week. If you're not seeing any impressions whatsoever after 24, 48 hours, then you have something probably wrong there. After a week, you should see a fairly decent amount of impressions, or at least some form of movement happening on it that you can then infer, okay, I'm not bidding enough. There's not enough search volume, etc. Maverick again. Also, due to our excessive contacts with them on phone call backs, they have banned us from receiving phone support. Yep. Do you know when we could expect phone support again, or what action we should take? Stop contacting them. Stop contacting them immediately. Amazon not only will take away your phone support, they will also take away your ability to talk to seller support. And then if you keep trying anything or send them emails or anything, they will ban you. I have seen it happen before. People freak out in certain situations. The most you should ever contact Amazon in one day is 10 support cases, different support cases in any one day. Any more than that, and you are going to get all of your privileges restricted from seller support. What you could maybe do in this scenario is sign up for their program. It's the like 5K one to talk to like an actual representative, but I wouldn't. That's just a waste of money typically. But there's not a lot you can do. And from a timeline perspective, it's going to take a couple of weeks. You might get it back in a week. You might get it back in a month. It really depends. Like I said, I've seen people banned over this situation before, like completely deactivated, suspended from the platform. So my best advice is stop messing with them for a while. I would even be really hesitant on submitting any new support cases, not just phone calls, but support cases as a whole, at least for a little while until this is kind of cleared up. Marnie, how are some products in multiple sub niche categories? Because the way categories work is essentially somebody is looking for a certain keyword, is in a certain category or something like that, and your product has indexed, let's say, for that keyword, and they go from one product to another, and then they purchase it. Boom. Now you are ranking for that, and over time, Amazon sees that your product has been purchased in multiple different categories, and so now you have a ranking in more than one category. You're ranking in, home goods, and you're also ranking in outdoor supplies. I don't know. So yeah, it's pretty common. It just has to do with what people are searching and how people found your product. It's why you should index on a bunch of different stuff, but you should always have one main subcategory that you're trying to stick within and, go for just that one. Oh, can also happen if you have variations on a listing that are in different categories or subcategories. Superhero design. Thank you. Not a problem. Stephen J, is it possible to get NCX removal? We got a lot of return because Amazon was sending the wrong item on a stickerless SKU. Now we have highly returned product badge. Oof, yeah, that's rough. You can submit to have it removed by Amazon, so you can submit all of those. Each one of them you can appeal, and if it truly was Amazon's fault, then typically they are pretty good about that kind of thing, admitting that. From that aspect, though, it's just going to take time. You're going to have to appeal every single one individually. Each one is going to be a support case of some kind that you're going to be going through. So you can get them removed. It's pretty common, but especially if it is Amazon's fault. Matthew, we sell bicycle fenders. We have a front version and a back version. Currently, the front versions are in a family color and the back versions are in family color. Okay. Is there any way with Amazon top search to have one family to term service or top search? Either way, to have one family to select front or back and color. The colors are the same for both. What variation theme should be used? Yeah, you just have to do a dual variation. So I'm not a fan of doing like 3 different variations, but yeah, it would just be the equivalent of they have to choose, let's say, front and or back. So you would choose that one. You could do something, I don't know, like size technically. Size isn't the right choice there, but you could do that variation theme of like size for the first one, and that is just front or back. And then you could do color for the second one. Since you have the same color across the board, it shouldn't matter. So whether they choose front or back, you'll keep the same color variations there. If you want to choose anything more, I wouldn't recommend it. I hate 3-tier variations. I think they're pointless. I think they take up too much space and they hurt conversion overall. But 2-tier should be fine. Just choose front or back, maybe like size, color would be fine. And then, go from there. Maverick, trying to dissociate an item with a parent and attach it to a new parent. We deleted the original parent and item, waited 2 days, and then tried to attach a new parent, but not working. You need to make sure that you deleted the parent. Okay, you waited your 2 days. Cool. Now you need to do a full product upload via flat file. So if you're doing your parentage via Amazon's parentage wizard or parenting wizard, variation wizard, whatever the heck it's called, stop doing that. Do it flat file only, Maverick. And then from there as well, if you're still having issues, I would do a full delete relist first and foremost with flat file. Just make sure they are listed on their own by themselves. They're not connected to any parent, nothing. Wait 24 hours and then go for the parentage via flat file. All right. More water. Another half hour goes by. Tons and tons and tons of questions today, guys. We're going to be here for another 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes even. So if you guys want to stick around. We got tons and tons more questions to go through. Stephen J again. How can I recover old ASINs that were blocked/deleted? It says it can't be found after entering the UPC/ASIN in create a listing. These were taken down a long time ago. Ooh. So if it was blocked, deleted, the question you have to ask yourself is, does the ASIN exist at all? So when you are going to create the actual listing, you need to figure out if the ASIN actually still exists on Amazon side. It should. ASIN should theoretically never go away. If it was blocked by Amazon and deleted by Amazon itself, then you're gonna have an issue. You can't relist that. But if it is a situation where the ASIN should theoretically still exist, like if you can go to the PDP on Amazon site. So what I would do is you can go to any product. So if I just go here and I just click one of these bread boxes I was at, whatever ASIN you're doing up here, oh, you can't even see, but up in the URL, there is a little ASIN spot. Do the ASIN there. So type in the ASIN into your URL. And then you should be able to go to that PDP if that listing exists. If it takes you to the little dog logo thing where it's like, we couldn't find that, that means that ASIN no longer exists. And you're going to have to create a new one. Roro, can I remove NCX where customers complain about a feature that clearly states that it's not what it's used for? It shows the length and what it's for, and they still buy and complain. Will Amazon remove those? No, unfortunately not. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how the customer is viewing the product, what they bought it for. So, what I would really recommend to you is twofold: change your title and change your design. Make it as clear as humanly possible on the listing that whatever they're complaining about is there. So you can then kind of start appealing. I mean, you can appeal these. You can always appeal NCX, but you're probably just going to get denied by Amazon. But yeah, just make it in the design and on the listing as clear as humanly possible that what you're trying to convey about the product that people are getting wrong and misinterpreting in some way, shape, or form. I would also just make sure that everything is correct, like in the actual. If I come here, so down here, just make sure all of this type stuff is correct in your backend, because I have seen situations where people like, my title says, it's X length, blah, 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 blah. And then like you'll come down here and it'll say capacity, 35 liters when it's supposed to be like 5 liters, right? And which, by the way, just real quick, this is 35 liters. They're gonna try and tell me that this is 35 liters. I don't know about all that. Anyways, my point being here is that I've seen that very often. People try and go ahead and say, "Oh yeah, it's X, Y, and Z," and then it turns out they have something wrong. So just make sure your design is really good. You can submit the NCX complaint, and hopefully maybe Amazon removes them, but they won't all the time. Daniel, what is your recommendation when your main keywords are either not converting or have a very high ACoS? If the product is new and if the product has some reviews. So your main keywords. So let's say that I have this bread box, and I'm assuming my main keywords are bamboo bread box. If I am not converting for this keyword, there are a few possible reasons. Reason number one is that my main image does not display the fact that it is a bamboo bread box. It does not show bamboo bread box. Reason number two, you are not bidding high enough on your keyword. You're saying converting. Make sure you're also getting impressions. Make sure you're getting clicks. Make sure that essentially you're getting attributions, conversion, everything, right? So, bids, design. Those are like your two areas. If you have very, very high ACoS, that kind of sounds like to me maybe you just have a very, very competitive main keyword. It also could be that you do not have good design. Design is gonna be your converting factor. Price is the final place I would look at. Oh, one sec, sorry. Get talking for an hour and the throat's all dry now. Price. Price is number one converting factor on Amazon. If you are selling your product for like double the price of your competitors, it doesn't matter. People aren't going to want to buy it, especially if you're a newer product on the block. So that's the unfortunate part there. Even if you have some reviews, doesn't matter. I mean, again, if this bamboo bread box here was, I don't know, $55, do you think it would sell as well? Probably not. $35 is decent. I bet if this halved it and this was $20, this would be flying off the shelves like hotcakes. So price is number one converting factor. So check your price. If you're way too high, that's going to be your problem there. Even if you have high ACoS, it's weird where your ACoS can go down if you get more sales, right? And if people are clicking onto it and they see, X, Y, and Z. Also throw some self-targeting in there. Maybe competitors with way lower prices are just on your listing as well, and that will hurt. Roro. I have done courses and I still understand how bids lower than suggested bid works when people are bidding higher bids. I tried the method and it worked, but I still don't get how that works. I'm bidding for something on it or for a keyword on Amazon. I have a chance for that key or for my bid to go through and for my product to show up on top of search. When that happens, Amazon is constantly rotating through all of the different people who are trying to bid through things. Some people have day parting, their bids lower down. And, for instance, it doesn't mean that your bid is never going to show up especially if you have ranking already for that keyword and for that bid. So I don't have Amazon's algorithm. Unfortunately, I don't know the exacts of how it works. Essentially, though, the way you need to look at it is if you are getting impressions, if you are getting clicks, that means your product and your bid are in line with similar other people who are doing that same bid. If your bid is too low, you are never going to get seen. So that's how it works. What is the best way to launch a new product these days, and how do you maintain sales? Ooh, love this one. So we actually have a fun little thing on my Amazon guys website for product launch pricing strategy. So I would check this out, anyone who wants to look at it, but it's just myamazonguy.com/FBA product launch pricing strategy. Always going to suggest week 1, 50% below target price. You want to sell your product for $40, list it at $20. Week 2, bring that $20 up to $25. Week 3, week 4, bring it up to $30. Week 5, bring it up, whatever. I don't know. I did the math wrong here. But, you get my point of essentially what we're trying to do with this is get as many sales in as possible when you are first going through this. I probably should have just used this little graph over here, $30, $15, whatever. You're trying to get as many reviews and as many sales in as quickly as possible. Price is the number one converting factor on Amazon. If you have a 50% lower price than the people you're competing with, people are going to purchase your product compared to theirs. Even if, yours is maybe not best quality or it's better quality, who knows? People will definitely purchase the product. So that's why I'm always going to try and suggest that if you can't do 50% just because it doesn't make sense for margins, that's fine. Do 30% and then go up from there. Whatever makes sense for you, but starting off lower and just getting sales momentum is how you essentially keep it. You need to get reviews in, you need to get a lot of sales very quickly, and that momentum will carry with you because you'll start ranking higher and then you'll have organic mixed with your advertising strategy. So that's, best case scenario for you. Ryan Reed, Amazon bot has flagged my product as intended for children. Okay, it's not. I've tried appealing in the account health dashboard and was able to create internal review, but it's been rejected. Any ideas? Unfortunately not. This happens all the time. If you have any form of keyword, anything that says child, it says kid, it says even not for kids, does not matter. Take it out of your listing immediately. Secondarily to that, if you have any graphics in your A+ content or anything that is going towards that, remove your A+ content, your brand story, all of that immediately, and reapply for it. See if you can get a reassessment on it. Unfortunately, I see this happen all the time. And your final thing is a lot of times they want certification for this type of thing, and I've seen people get certification, like child certification stuff, for products that have absolutely no bearing on children whatsoever. You could go that route, and it sometimes works, it sometimes doesn't. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. You'll just have to see. But yeah, remove anything that might even closely resemble it, and then do a reassessment on it. Doug, I have unauthorized sellers on ASIN, and I'm concerned the ASIN is vulnerable to an unauthorized seller changing the contents of the ASIN. How can I be as proactive as possible to prevent this from happening? Just make sure your product is connected to your brand registry, and follow up with that. So especially with everything you're talking about with the brand stuff, just make sure your product is connected to brand registry. If it is not connected to brand registry, do that immediately. That will protect you as much as feasibly possible. Secondarily, that you can look at doing programs like transparency for the product, and that would stop unauthorized resellers of the product as well from selling it. So brand registry, number one, make sure it's connected to the product and you shouldn't have any issues there. And then secondarily, you can look at something like transparency. I'm not the biggest fan of transparency, but I know a lot of people swear by it. So those are kind of your two best options there, Doug. What is other source under NCX when it's not under return? So other source can just be somebody is leaving the review. So it can be a variety of things. It doesn't have to be necessarily a return. It can be a sale. It can be anything. So it's vague as to the exacts of other source, but it still is a valid review in some way. Jacob, hi, bro. Opinions on the Amazon SAS program? Waste of money. Simple as that, Jacob. Waste of money. Amazon. There's a video we posted, I don't know, a month ago or something, where we had someone come through who was paying for SAS and working with the SAS rep on some issues, and the SAS rep apparently literally told this person, "I don't know how to solve your problem, but you can go talk to my Amazon guy and they might be able to." And that should tell you everything you need to know about Amazon SAS. The only Amazon seller support sucks. SAS is supposed to be the high tier seller support that you're paying for. You're paying for an extra experience, right? And an actual person you can talk to. Guess what? It's still Amazon seller support. They are trained all in the same way off the same materials, and Amazon's own internal training materials suck. So SAS, not a fan. I have not heard, well, that's not true. I have one positive experience with a good SAS rep, and it only lasted about 3 months. And the reason for that is because they were really good at their job. They got promoted internally nearly immediately. You're not going to, if somebody's good at their job at Amazon, they'll get promoted. But yeah, so unfortunate, but I'm not a fan. Why aren't member questions answered first? So Steve and I typically don't do member questions first. There's not really a great way for me to see them. If someone does donation of any kind, you throw in $1 or even, I don't care, 50 cents, whatever you want to do. I definitely will see those first. Those get starred, and I will answer those first. But from the member aspect, I don't have any good way of actually seeing it on my end. I suppose I have some people on the back end here. I could have them in the future try and flag and star member questions to be answered first. But yeah, good suggestion. I definitely will talk to the team about that in the future and try and make sure we get to them when we get to them and put some priority on. So appreciate you being a member though, Stephen. Marnie, where can I find a keyword conversion rate data? Are you talking like specifically on your advertising? Are you talking on your keyword ranking? That's it's open-ended question, Marnie. If you're looking for specific conversion rate, I mean, you can just get that from your advertising data. So I would just download your search term report and your targeting on your ads, and you can see essentially what your conversion rate is. So you can see what your click-through rate is, and then see what your conversion rate is off that. That's probably your best bet if you're talking about from an advertising perspective. Roro, how do I narrow broad keywords? I find it makes more sense doing it in phrase. What are best methods to make more effective broad keywords? Do I just create a ton of negative keywords for broad for it to be effective? Kinda, yeah. That's not necessarily what I would, or the way I would explain it, Roro, but yeah, kinda. You're right there. Broad's interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of broad. I think I like phrase and exact a little bit more than broad, but broad has tons of great uses. But you're about right in the sense of yes, you need to get very specific with your negations on broad. I would almost say for an exact campaign, you should have like 1-to-2 ratio of like keywords to negative targeting keywords. But for like broad, I would almost bump that up to like a 1-to-3 ratio. Especially with what you're doing and on broad, but you just want to make sure that you're not going to be getting too nitty gritty with it. But broad can be a great campaign, right? Again, it's not necessarily my favorite campaign to use all the time, but it can be great campaigns, great use case for campaigns. You just need to make sure you know what you're actually targeting and how broad and phrase work. I have a post I made, I don't know, maybe a month ago or so on LinkedIn. If you look at my LinkedIn of going over exact phrase and broad and how to use them and utilize them in the best way possible. And I talk a lot about the negations there side of things that I was kind of, just talking about now. So definitely check something like that out as well. Jacob, can you stop Amazon from shipping returns again to your FBA customers? Because Amazon says that products are still sellable, but in fact they are not. Yeah. There is a specific section on, what is it? Oh, automated. There we go. Let me pull this up for you real quick, Jacobs, just so I can show you. So if you go on over to your, I believe, inventory. Yep, here it is. Okay. Unfulfillable, auto removal settings. Here we go. All right, let me share this tab. All right. So get here, go to your manage-all inventory. Oh, oopsies. Go to your manage-all inventory, go to remove unfulfillable inventory. Let me share this tab. Then auto removal settings. Now, once you're actually here, Jacob, here's the thing. They are technically trying to say your inventory is actually still fulfillable, right? The biggest thing here is you likely have grade and resell on, or maybe even refurbishment on. I would get rid of both of these. And you can even exclude specific products from it. Typically, if Amazon's saying that it is sellable, but it's not, that's more of an Amazon how it goes about grading it. But this will help you on the unfulfillable side if they're like grading and reselling it, for instance. But outside of that, you can't really stop them from selling inventory. You could change your settings to where every item that gets returned automatically comes to you and doesn't go to the warehouse. That's your only other option, would be to just go to your return settings. Let me see. I don't have access to return settings on this account, so I can't show you. But if you go to your return settings up in the top right, you can change it to where the resolution on your return settings is always going to be products come back to you rather than Amazon. And that could help you as well. Doug Piper, Steve. Come on, guys, don't gang up on me too much about the members stuff. Like I said, I'll. Oh, look at this. I think they. Oh, see, Doug, Steven, backend team. We have a couple of people back on the back end. They are lovely and wonderful. And guess what? They already started starring member questions. So there you go. We have solved the member dilemma here already. One sec. All right, Steven. How can I directly appeal each individual NCX? So on NCX, there should be a little appeal button. Let's go over to NCX just so you can see it. Probably shouldn't whistle. That's probably awful for you guys. Let's see. So if we go over to performance, voice of customer. All right. So share this tab real quick. That's not what I want to do. Let's go very poor. See details. Here we go. So when you are in NCX, and let me share my screen here. When you're in NCX, you're going to have each one of these. So you'll have your return with the reviews, sources, all of this. Typically speaking, you should have a button. We don't have them on here because it's just too far or it's been too long. But you should have a button that you can click if it hasn't been too long since the NCX to where you can appeal this. Now, what I would typically do for each of these and try and understand is, do not go through and retroactively just appeal every single NCX. Amazon will get annoyed with you if you are just appealing everything for no reason whatsoever. It is definitely not something that you should go about doing if you are just trying to appeal anything that comes through. If something is actual feedback and isn't against Amazon TOS or anything like that, don't go about appealing it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. All right. And then Steven asks again, how can I slowly work the list pricing up? When does the red slash show up? So slowly working the list pricing, I would recommend every single week looking at changing your list price no more than 8 to 10% increase. So you should be able to, but it works off of average selling price. So you, for instance, let's say you have an average selling price of, oh, loud noise, average selling price of, let's say, $20, and you're trying to go up, you can increase it to, let's say, $22. But then if a week goes by and you only got, 2 sales at $22, now your average selling price is only $21. You can only go up by $2.10 rather than trying to go up by $2.20. So when you're trying to do it, go up 8 to 10% at a time based off of your average selling price. When does the red slash show up? You have to have enough sales volume and you have to have an average selling price for it to work. Not sure why I'm paying not to be prioritized. Steven, I got you, man. The Backend team, they have heard, they have listened. We are here. We got you. The only big thing now is that I'm really hoping the Backend team can show me exactly where I was before all this. Let's see. Ina, I'm hoping you knew what question I was on because I don't. Give me a second here, guys. I'm just trying to find the next question. We do have to go in about 4 minutes. They're not going to have. There we go. Yep, JB found it. Regarding products with a high return rate increased by 3 times compared to before Prime Day, I assume that the factory produced the wrong size or attached the wrong FN SKU labels. Is there a way to remove or MCF order only the products delivered during a specific shipment period? No, unfortunately, there's not. You kind of have to just ask Amazon to remove all units. There's not going to be a way that Amazon mixes units. They don't usually do that. So, for specific periods. So I would absolutely, if you have a issue with a wrong product, you don't know what units those are. Amazon doesn't know. So I would absolutely just remove all units from inventory and then have it sent back to you, figure it out, go from there. It's unfortunate. It happens. It's part of being a seller, but there's not a huge thing that you can do there, unfortunately. Hi, Noah. Hey. I've created several virtual bundles from several FBA products that I own, but all bundles are FBM. Is it possible to change them to FBA? How? Virtual bundles are FBA only. So I don't know how you would have created them for FBM. It sounds to me more like you created actual bundles via FBM. Because, if so, for reference here, let me just share screen again. For reference, when you're creating virtual bundles, you have to go to your brands and you have to go to virtual bundles here. If you're talking about this can only be created with FBA SKUs. So you can't do this with FBM on any of these. So that's, if you are doing it with FBM, they need to be FBA. Otherwise, it's just a actual physical bundle listing that you've created via FBM. Hope that helps. Yeah, just create it with the same exact products, but through FBA, I should say. Let's see. I am a reseller of toys. Brand owner changed the GR from toys to game app. GR? Brand registry probably is what you're trying to say. Is there any way to change it by me reseller? Amazon said if brand owner doesn't change it back, no way to correct it back. Nope. If you don't have brand registry, no, you cannot change it back, unfortunately. As a reseller, you have next to no power when it comes to listings if the brand owner wants to change something. You can try and change it all you want and try and be the beneficial contributor to a listing, but unfortunately, no. And not much you can do there. All right, guys. I think I have to call it there today. I have another call. There are a ton of questions. Who is the best A/B split testing tool? I would say definitely not PickFu. No, it's PickFu. PickFu is great. Great to see you, John. John says, nice to see you. Did not die from that trip. Triggered by donkeys yet. For those that don't know, when I was in Colombia last week, I was in the middle of the jungle on a trek, and I got very, very, very ill. You can check out some pictures. I posted some on my LinkedIn, linkedin.com/Noah Wickham. Go check it out. But yeah, did not die. Thank you, John. PickFu is the best when it comes to A/B testing tools. All right, guys, I gotta go. There are tons more questions here. I will be back next week, same exact time, to answer any and all of your questions. If you didn't get your question answered or you need some specific help, reach out to us. We're always happy to help. Again, we are My Amazon Guy. We are essentially a full service agency. We do everything A to Z on Amazon. So account management, we do one-off project services, everything in between. Check us out. You can check our site. We have 1,000,001 services here. Our site is actually new. We did a bunch of cool stuff to it. So check it out regardless. Again, internships and jobs general, go apply. Happy to have you here. If you want some coaching one-on-one, we have that as well. If you want to check me out, see some more stuff, I post daily on LinkedIn. Check my Amazon guy on LinkedIn. Check my LinkedIn. But yeah, I'll be back next week to answer any and all questions from you guys. I am very happy to be back. We had a ton of questions today. Love to see it and hope to see you all next week. Thanks, everybody.